everyone. Welcome back to our another episode of our video lecture for the course Creative Writing. And on today's episode, you will be learning Unit 5, which on this unit or in this unit, we will focus on voice, style, theme, and tone. Um, will not take this long. Without further ado, let's begin. As of this time, allow me to share my screen to everybody. So this is our Unit 5, and we'll take a look at our Unit 5 topics. As I said, we'll look into voice, style, theme, and tone. So we're still talking about, or this is still one of the fundamentals of creative writing. So let's start with voice. Voice class, it is not the literal voice that, our speaking voice, but in a way, this is the speaking voice of the writer. So not really literally na mag-speech yung writer, of course not. So this is somewhat elusive and difficult to describe. Well, kasi every writer, I must say, has is his or her own writing voice. And other writers really have problems finding their voice. In fact, for some, it would take time for them to be able to find their voice because a voice is something distinct or unique. Kumbaga, um, there is a novel that you checked out. You did not know the author yet, but you happened to read the summary. After reading the summary, you have an inkling already, or you have an idea who writes the novel, even if you have not read the author yet. Pero after reading the summary, you already have an idea na, parang sinulat to ni Edgar Allan Poe, ha? Okay, that means Edgar Allan Poe already found his voice or any other writer. So that means that writer has found his or her voice. So a voice could involve subject matter, the themes that the writer writes to explore, as well as his or her style of writing. So let's say you're a kind of writer that, focus on tragedy or focus on something that is like gothic, no? Or yung mga ganyan na style or genre. So that could be your way to be able to establish your voice as a writer. So yung theme mo, yung subject matter mo, and then how do you write, yung language, yung style mo as a writer. So this is why you can tell if a piece has been written by, for example, Dostoevsky and not by Isabel Allende. Allende, right? So let's say that is why we can figure out that this write-up or yung story na to is written by Edgar Allan Poe or William Shakespeare or maybe yung mga contemporary writers written by Nicholas Sparks because you know na their genre, you know their theme, you know how they write, and at the same time, you know the subject matter that they usually explore. Now, it is good to note that the written work itself will also have its own voice, determined primarily by the demands of the story. And the children's story will have a different voice from a war story, obviously, even if they are written by the same writer. Why? Because they are different genre and they have different target audience. So hindi naman if you aim to write a children's story, you cannot be as bold, no, as when you write a war story or as when you write an like mature theme story. So let's say a story told from the point of view of a young girl in Manila. Obviously, it will have a different voice from a story told about an aging athlete living in Manhattan. Now, take note that to beginning writers, according to Cecilia Manguera Brainard, to beginning writers, Brainard's advice for you to find your own writing voice is to write a lot because you cannot actually find your voice if you only write one literary piece, or you don't write a lot because it's a kind of constant exploration. So you will be able to identify your voice. No, you can find your voice only if you keep on writing. Because if you don't keep on writing, that only means how would you be able to figure out that that is your voice as a writer? So what you can do is you keep a journal where you can jot down anything and everything. And the more you write, the more you learn how to flow. How would you be able to make like the sequence, no? Kung um, paano mo gagawin yung kwento and how you will let it flow, and the less tilted your writing will become. And eventually you will find a groove. So as you keep on writing, you will discover a lot about yourself as a writer. And then until such time you will find a groove where you are most comfortable writing about. Let's say for Brainard's experience, no, she studied creative writing in the US, and then one of her classmates told her, because they have this kind of peer review, no, they peer review their literary piece. One of her classmates told her that this is a very generic story. Para bang it can be written by another writer or by another person. So that means she has not found her voice. And until such time she keeps on practicing or she keeps on writing, then she was able to find her groove na as a writer. So if you are going to read Cecilia Magura Brainerd's story, most of her stories actually are like yung setting niya is really very Philippines, no? Kasi she's a Filipina, and it's something that she is like she knows, no? Or until such time, yan yung comfort niya when she's writing. So she was able to find her groove, okay? And at the same time, we have to read a lot. Keep a track of what you like and what you don't like about what you read. So you have to really take note. And the parts that you like, you read again with a critical eye, and you try to figure out what you like about it. And you reread authors whose works you admire, mga inspiration mo. Because at the end of the day, there are writers that we like. Like, I mean, we really admire their write-ups. And there are also that do not actually catch our attention. Because we are not alike, no? Yung iba gusto nila yung mga science fiction na genre, but others may not like it, and they might love romance, or others may love horror or those things. So try to determine what you like about it. And then for you to find your voice, have courage to experiment. So don't stop, keep going. Have courage to fail. No, if you fail, it's okay. You write again, and then have courage to try again. Write again and write again, and have courage to say thank you when you hit it right. Because by the time you hit it right, those readers of yours that read your story will probably be giving you, like good reviews and all that. And once you find your groove, just be humble and be kind to others floundering like yourself. And as a writer, don't forget to have fun. Kumbaga, it's your passion. You're expressing not just your aim is not just to entertain others, but at the same time, you're having fun. You like what you're doing. So that's all about the voice. Now let's take a look at style, theme, and tone. So if we look at the word style, di ba? We already have this in our stylistics class. Style is the language of the piece. This is the language of the author. So ito yung kung ano nga ba ang ginagamit, paano nga ba, no? How does the writer use English language? So theme here is the main idea or underlying meaning a writer explores. So let's say, sorry, the theme is like love, no? So yan yung mga theme. And then tone is the feelings and emotions of the piece. Is the piece happy? Diba? Okay, yung tone ba, there's excitement. So that's the thing. Okay? Now, writing style, as I said, it has a lot to do with language of the piece. So the style of the piece could be florid, meaning marami yung mga descriptions, okay? Or it could be spare as well. So other writers would just be very direct, pero yung iba, very metaphoric, okay? And theme is what the story is all about or the general subject. Let's say you want to write about revenge, or you want to write about unrequited love, or it could be about the inhumanity of man. And for tone, so ano nga ba yung tone? I already mentioned earlier to yung emotions. So, for example, a piece about the person dying may have a summer tone as opposed to a love story that may have a light and joyful tone. So, pag, dying yung character or may parang ganyan, so of course, sad, no? It's sad. So, of course, it could be otherwise. A story about a person dying could just as well be written in a comic tone, and love story could be tragic. So, depende. So, that's it for our unit 5. So, we're basically discussing about voice and then style, theme, and tone. So, I hope I was able to share information from you, class. Thank you very much, and I hope you learned a thing or two. I will see you in our next video lecture. This is it for this episode. This has been your teacher, Miss Mars. I will see you on the next one. Bye.